of what was one of the most memorable property situations that you might have had to deal with over the years?
The most memorable. I love my hoarder houses.
Why is that? Why do you love hoarder houses?
Love it. It fascinates me how brains can do that,
Right,
how they
right.
collect stuff.
Right. Well,
I mean,
and you have a psychiatric social work
I know
background.
that,
Why do people have that
but
propensity?
usually, I mean, the psychology, it's usually related to trauma. There's some kind of trauma that went on in their life.
What is the worst, bar none, the worst property condition that you've ever encountered in a fiduciary situation you've been involved in?
I had a property that had mold. I never saw so much mold. You couldn't really go in because I went in and I felt like I couldn't breathe once I went out. So I had to get all the hazmat mold people to go in with their suits and everything, get rid of the mold. But then we were able to sell it once the mold was out. But I never saw so much mold.
Okay,
And
and then
black
you
mold.
hired a remediation company. They cleaned it all up, did the test, and showed that there was no mold at the end, so you could sell it. What do you think was the situation? That was it? The house was leaking, or why did it get that moldy?
I don't know, and this
No,
person was living in this mold.
they were living there. Okay,
And
yeah, I've seen a lot of situations, especially sometimes elders are cold, and so they don't want to keep the windows open, and houses don't get good ventilation, and that can be it. Also, leaks can also be a
yeah,
big
it
mold
wasn't leaks. I never saw
detractor.
so much mold, and I don't
Right,
know
right,
where it came from.
right. Okay.
And then
No, that's it. Sorry, what's another scenario?
I
The
had
worst.
another one with I got it after the people died, but they the relative told me they used to both sit in these chairs and smoke the whole day. So you took the painting off the wall and you said, "Oh my
Oh, you
god, the
see
wall
the
is white." But
right.
everything was them drapes, everything was covered with this smoke residue.
Yeah, no, that's surprising when you do remove. I've actually sold houses where the smoke detector was brown, okay, because of the years of people smoking in the house. So yes, that is
And
another scenario.
2 houses with pigeons.
Okay,
And
two.
and the
Okay,
pigeons live there, and the people are living this one lady was living with I mean, it looked like
maybe they were her pets. Yeah.
snow all over the
Mm,
house.
mm,
With
yeah,
something.
yeah,
So you have to
right.
get hazmat in there too.
Okay, so next question. What would you find are the biggest apprehension that beneficiaries and heirs have if a professional fiduciary needs to become part of the situation?
They wonder if you're gonna somehow take that money in some way. But I always explain, that you guys get accountings, if it's court, well, definitely you have to, go through that whole procedure. But if it's just a trust, you tell them you have a fiduciary duty, and if they think you're not doing well, you can, complain about the
Right, right.
person.
But so it sounds like it sounds like it's fear, and it's often financial fear and fear of losing control of the
Yeah,
situation. Right,
right. What I think what they don't understand is that you can't do just what they want you to do. You have to follow what the document says. So, sometimes oh, I need money for this, I need money for that. Well, you can't have it because it's no provision here that's giving you money to buy a new car or whatever the issue is. And then if you have a special needs trust, you have to be up on all the rules of what you can give, what you can't give.
right. And because also public benefits can get affected in those situations. But yeah, so it sounds like the fear of, the loss of control, the fear of, making sure that you're hoping that your motives are aligned with their motives. All of these things can
Right.
sort of create an air of distrust.
Right.
It sounds like it kind of goes back to that thing where if you sit down with people and you talk with them and they feel heard and they understand that you're coming at this from a place of caring, but you do have a
Yeah, see
process
what
and
you're gonna do and the
right,
process. Yeah.
right, right. Okay, great. What's one thing that families that, just in general could do today based on your experience that would make estate or trust administration easier for them? Say for instance, parents are still alive, adult kids are out there. What do you think would they should do now to so there's not as many surprises later?
Are the parents competent?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so make sure they have their estate plan written up and who gets the authority and who has the healthcare powers. That's a big one too that people
Okay.
know.
Okay. Do you recommend that it's not just that they have the estate plan written up, but do you recommend that there's conversations with the
Yeah.
family members and the parents so that everybody kind of knows?
Well, a lot of parents don't want to do that. I don't know, but they don't trust their I don't know, but it's interesting. I know
Yeah,
people with a
yeah,
lot of money who have
yeah.
not discussed that with their kids.
Right, right. And I think
I
some of that
discussed it with you a little bit.
a little bit, but you keep changing it. You keep telling me
That's
I'm disinherited, then I'm back, then I'm not.
have
Yeah,
well, you
yeah.
have a right to I'm gonna go look at it again.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I think that brings a good point. First of all, I don't know if you found this, but financial conversations are very hard for people to have in general. And from parents to children, those are difficult conversations. Nobody, I think, really wants to talk about what's going to happen when they die because we all don't really want to think we're going to die, right? So these are difficult conversations for anybody to have. But I think you've probably seen a lot of the experience where there was no idea what was going to be said in the trust. And then, it's very upsetting to the family when they find out that,
Yeah, when one
so,
child only gets $1. Oh my,
right, right, right,
that
or so and so got 2/3 and one only got 1/3, and in
right.
a lot of those scenarios there was one person who took care of the parents more, and maybe that got changed later, and sometimes that's you know a reasonable thing, and it was done with full compli the parents wanted this to happen. Sometimes there's coercion. I mean, you just never know in these
I know.
situations
We
what could
get
have
those
gone on.
situations when it's, a deathbed will, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So my last question is, as someone who's worked in this field for 35 years, someone who has, I think you're sort of quasi-retired, could you say, or you
Almost totally.
almost retired. So what advice would you give to folks that are younger than you or your age in terms of your own care going forward? What have you thought about how you, a very vibrant, independent lady, is thinking about the next years of her life from a care perspective, from a planning perspective, from a fiduciary perspective?
Well, I have long-term care insurance, and that's something that people should get.
You saw that as beneficial to you
Oh, yeah.
already. When did you first get that?
Before I was 60, I
Okay. And why before you were 60? I'm just curious.
because the rates start going up the older
Okay.
you
Right.
apply for it.
Okay.
And then the rates seem to go up every year, and I hope I never have to use it. However, have it, so that would protect, well, who knows how much it'll cost at that point.
Right. And
But
does that mean that besides your own personal finances, does that
yeah,
insurance mean that you're guaranteed to stay in your home, or does that mean that you'll have great care and a lot of it paid for no matter
no,
where you
I don't
go?
want no, it guarantees me a certain amount of money every day for care. That's what it guarantees.
Were you to become
Yeah, not
incapacitated or not able to care for everything? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's one thing, long-term care. Anything else? You did a trust, right?
I trust, I have healthcare powers, I have powers of attorney, what other dumb and I think you should revisit your trust, which I'm gonna do, 'cause they people that need it more than other people that I would like to
Right.
take
That's where
care
we're talking about disinheriting me and putting in the other people. Yes. Okay.
Very good.
Great. Great. Okay. Right. Right. I also understand, because I know from firsthand experience that you recently have a new family member that you
Oh,
got.
my little dog.
Okay.
Oh, I never put that in the trust. Who's gonna get my
Eh,
dog?
Okay, very good point. So, A,
Yeah,
you need to, if you have a pet, you need to figure out a plan,
right,
right? Only because this pet is now 6 months old, right?
right.
Right,
Oh,
so it's still a young puppy, and
right.
yeah, yeah, Right.
No, what
Okay.
I did on my first trust, I had a boyfriend and I was leaving it to him, the dog, and $50,000 to take care
Okay.
of the dog.
Okay. Right.
So,
Well, that's good. That was like, I think it was, wasn't it Leona Helmsley who
oh,
left
you
it,
just own her
gave,
billions.
yes, yes,
I
to her dogs. Right. So, okay. Would you say that getting a pet is something that has also been, mentally, physically beneficial to you? A dog, a cat?
I don't know, I love to have a dog, but I'm doing
Okay.
a lot of traveling, so I have a lot of dog sitting that I'm paying. Yeah,
Okay.
and
So there's an expense, but
kept the dog.
yeah.
I
Right.
kept the dog, and
Right. Right.
she and I are having a contest of wills.
All right,
Anyway,
but so it gives you some companionship.
I love the
I know from having my own dog, it forces me to walk much more in the day than I ever would have before.
people that
I
have dogs live longer because they
right,
get more exercise
right,
and they have some love. They have
yeah,
physical touching. Yeah,
exactly,
they're not.
exactly. So good. Okay, but no, and I like your point about that we do have to put these pets in the will. I've heard of people who, particularly if you have a parrot or a tortoise or a horse that all can live, 30, 50, 100 years, you need to really plan ahead for those things.